Hello CDA2, welcome to your week 3 explanation. We're going to be switching over and looking at functional area 3, the learning environment. This will take us through Friday, June 26th. So there will be a quiz, a discussion, and 2 assignments that we'll be diving deeper into. There will be some lecture materials that will be available by Monday, but the first thing up is going to be the Chapter 3 quiz in your Beatty book over establishing a learning environment. So this is going to be looking at developmentally appropriate practices. How do you set up classrooms to have stimulating learning centers? I've been in classrooms where everybody always sits at tables and they don't move around the room. There are worksheets instead of hands-on activities. I posted something in another class about like hands, but I'll go more into hand development and how that impacts pencils and how they need to do more Play-Doh and things along those lines. And then do you have stimulating that talks about content as well as curiosity and then using technology whenever appropriate. So here's a Chapter 3 quiz, 2 attempts. Then we're going to have a discussion on the learning environment. And so this is going to really dive into NAEYC's developmentally appropriate practices. Is it age appropriate, individually appropriate, and culturally appropriate? I had water table where I had a child who had difficulty with her hands. And so other kids had small cups and tweezers in order to put things in. She had a wider cup where she was allowed to use her hand. And so she was able to do filling and emptying, but I had to make it different to accommodate her special needs. And then is it culturally appropriate as opposed to somebody's culture, whether it's their family culture or the larger perspective of culture. Think about the rooms that you're coming from or the rooms that you're going to create your initial posts by June 24th and your responses by the 26th. Then you're going to upload your weekly lesson plan. Hopefully you have access to it. And so this will be one of those artifacts that go in your portfolio. As you can see, it's a sample lesson plan, including goals for their learning, a description of the learning plans, accommodations for kids who have special needs if you have them, or if you may serve them in the future, and then what age group they're going to be for. Then we're going to be moving on to competency statement 1. So the first SLO, the first competency, is really looking at creating a safe, healthy learning environment. And so the question is how do you do that? So you have an initial paragraph where you talk about practices. You can look in your competency books to give specific examples. And then you're going to go back and reflect on the different things that you have submitted. So 1 is going to be look at the menu and tie back into what you just turned in with the menu if you did that part of it. Part 2 is your room environment. Reflect on it and how, if the room was designed by you, for example, if you're the assistant and you don't have a whole lot of say in how that is, what would you change about it? And then your weekly lesson plan. How does that reflect your philosophy? And if not, what would you change about it? So if you're all about going off the children's lead type of thing, and this is based off of their interests, were to look at, I knew one class and the kids were all about their feet. And so the next week the teacher spent all this time having them walk on different types of textures. They were in the sand, they were on rocks, they were on different textures just to explore feet. So it was a really interesting thing. So that's going to be your competency statement. And so I look forward to seeing you guys on the discussion board.